I brought in 5 little blackberry plants that I got from a blackberry patch up in Northwood, and they've grown to this massive stretch. And along the front here is mint, so that's not up yet, but it will be coming up. And when I was a teenager, a group of us left Hampton Beach. We were surfers and stuff, and we left Hampton Beach and we went to California for the winter. We got out there, and I ended up meeting a woman who lived up the street from me. And this woman had she had a garden, and I didn't know it, but she had been growing this food up there without chemicals. Back then, they didn't use the word organic, and so I started going up there to visit her every day, and she showed me how to grow food without chemicals. And one day I went up there, and there were these big black limousines there, 5 of them, with all of these guys in suits. And she got in a big argument with them, and she was telling them that if they wanted to cure their patients of cancer, that they were going to have to teach their patients how to grow vegetables in their own yards without chemicals. And when they left, I said, well, who is that? And she said it was the American Cancer Society. And this woman had cured herself of cancer. She showed me the x-rays, and she had cancer all through her. And so ever since then, I've just been on a mission when I got home, everywhere I lived, to grow a garden without these pesticides and chemicals, and try to teach people what that woman taught me. And I guess my paycheck is a situation like this. There was a student that lived here. She had a tent. She put her tent right up and lived here for 3 years when she was at UNH. And I met her as she was going into her sophomore year. And she graduated and went to Vermont and was a school teacher, and called me up crying one day. And I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? And she said, I just had a meeting with the school department, the school board, and they said I could have an organic garden in the playground for the kids. That's my paycheck.
Should I get a hat rather than have a hood?
Wait, put the hood back on.
It's cold.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, sorry. A moment I had when I decided that I really wanted to do this as a career and as just a life kind of was when I've been working on farms when I was younger and just apprenticing and was a total lackey and pulling weeds and stuff like that, and I just kept doing it season after season. I did an apprenticeship at UCFC in Santa Cruz, and just it was way more focused into like the planning aspects of farming and like soil science and just the kind of deeper stuff than just the labor. And it made me really realize just like how complex farming is and just all the information that's out there beyond just like the physical work and like all the kind of like brain power stuff. Didn't really realize that before when I was just like bopping around and working on farms. So that kind of exposure really turned me on to just all the stuff that goes into it just like started to really, really interest me. One day in the very early season, after I transplanted a whole bunch of stuff and then covered it back up with row cover just to keep the bugs off and like keep it warm and stuff like that. And like the first time that I like lifted some up and like peeked through and like looked at these bok choy plants, like I specifically remember it, and it was like they were growing, and I was so stoked because they were growing, and like I had no clue if anything was gonna work on this piece of ground, just like me on my own doing this. And I'd worked on a million farms before and certainly grown a shit ton of like other bok choy, but for some reason like this image of when like this own bok choy of mine was like actually growing, I was really proud and really excited, and it just gave me a sense of like, okay, like things are happening. I just felt like I was gaining these skills that like actually like made sense and were like applicable in the world. And so I don't think that like for me, even though like I started farming 20 years ago and I own my own farm and there's so many things that are so stressful about it, still I love harvesting food, and I'm like really particularly into like having a very high aesthetic of the results of what it is that we're giving to our customers, and it makes me so happy when we have just like this insane overflowing abundance of beauty, just in the colors and just also like the flavor. Like I know the quality of the flavor and the richness of what it is that we ultimately are doing is amazing, and like that never ever gets old. Like I am so proud, and like when we like have this gorgeous food to like get out the door, I don't think that that will ever really diminish. That's never gonna be insignificant for me. So that's still something like I'm just like proud, you know. And
I'm just really happy to be a fun guy. I don't know. So I grew up in Lawrence, Kansas. The first job I ever had was shucking corn, and I hated it, and I hated farming, and I thought, you know, it's what the hell are these guys doing? This is ridiculous. Like, this is the one that I knew was some way, you know, involved in agriculture. So I spent some time in Africa with the Red Cross, and I think that's where I truly picked up on farming again. At this one tea farm, just being around the happiest people that I had ever met in my entire life, and who had such different amounts of what I thought at that time to be, you know, subsistence. You know, I had this idea of a house and a family and blah, you know, this a different view, and I was depressed, and these people were extremely happy, and I had so much stuff, and I was not happy, and I met these people that farmed. They were so in touch with the land. They used every part of everything that they cultivated. They used every part of everything that was, you know, that all the work that they put into what they did. They made sure to reap all the benefits from it, and being around people that were so giving, so caring, and had so much less than me, really just turned me back on to like getting more in touch with nature, and realizing that like there was more to this than just, you know, producing food to make money or doing something where you got to be outside. I mean, there was something there that was quite magical. The people that you meet that are farmers, I mean, not only are they healthier, I mean, they're truly happier in most of my experience, and most of them are well below the, you know, the average rate of income and whatnot. And so for me, farming has definitely helped me to kind of like figure out, you know, to plant the right seeds inside myself so that I can, you know, prosper and fruit, you know, in the best way possible. And